there's some Revelator songs that I'm like, man, we got to bring those back. But we've done so many songs and albums. There's like so much to choose from that I guess we don't think about it all the time.
We need to get you a really good slide player in Nashville, and you guys need to cover a Derek Trucks song.
You know, he told me Susan wrote the song, which he was proud of. He said that with great pride, you know, the way you say nice things about your family.
From the first note with Tedeschi Trucks, they just blow you away.
Yes, we will. I wouldn't argue with anyone that says that could be my favorite song on I Am the Moon.
He, signs my ticket, and I look over at Susan. I say, Susan, would you sign it too? And she goes, oh, heck yeah.
Kevin calls me and was like, hey, man, what are you doing? I was like, nothing. He was like, Derek wants to record some tuba stuff. I said, when do you want to do it? And he was like, let's do it Wednesday.
It was midnight in Harlem, and it caught our attention, man, and we started diving deep, and we're like, okay, we got to see these guys.
What's up? Welcome to the unofficial Tedeschi Trucks podcast. This is episode number 139, and I am Adam Choit. To follow the show, it's at Tedeschi Trucks Podcast on Instagram, on YouTube. Just search Tedeschi Trucks Podcast. If you're watching, you are already there, so please be sure to subscribe, give likes, shares, comments. All that is appreciated. I got that on pretty much automatic now, I guess, but good to get that all out and get through it. I'm at Adam Choit on Instagram and Twitter. If you'd like to follow me, TedeschiTrucksPodcast.com, all the links to everything related to this show, AdamChoit.com for all my stuff. TedeschiTrucksBand.com is the band's official website. Might as well throw that in there as well. This will be fun. I'm going to give you guys a disclaimer. My knowledge on Grateful Dead and their history is somewhat limited. If Derek and Susan did a Billy Joel getaway, or maybe like a Beatles or Rolling Stones getaway type trip music festival, that I would have tons of knowledge about. But luckily for me, I have Traci Thaler coming on, and she was at the Deadhead Music Festival, which we are going to discuss, which was January 12th through 15th. Is that yesterday? What day is it? What year is this? It's the 16th of January now. So it ended yesterday officially. Riviera, Cancun, Mexico, I guess is pretty much where it was. It looks super fun. So many great pictures and, even videos that have come out and on social media and all that. I haven't listened to the show. I don't know if there's been a recording start to finish been made public or anything yet, but I'm sure I'll dive into that in the coming weeks if that's available. I don't think I have anything else to say. I just want to get into this and let Traci will steer the conversation, tell me all about the weekend and the experience, and most notably to me, of course, Derek and Susan's contributions to the weekend, which I was checking out a little bit before, some videos on social media, just like Derek and Susan, they just make everything better, and it just makes the music almost feel like, oh, this is kind of like TTB playing Grateful Dead songs, because Derek and Susan's, their sound, it just kind of cuts through no matter who they're playing with, and in a not obnoxious way, but also in a sort of leading the way. But I'll let Traci get into all the details of the music and the experience. So without further ado, let's bring in Traci Thaler. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for joining me first time here. I appreciate it. How are you and where are you?
I'm great. I'm in Atlanta. I flew home this morning. I am like really tired. I didn't sleep last night. There was like an after show. Lettuce played late night, and then my flight was first thing in the morning. So if I'm a little bit incoherent, that's why, but I'll try to keep myself on track here.
I think that's partly my natural state, so you'll fit right in here.
It's worth it. It was worth it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I figure I'll just let you steer the ship, and you could kind of tell me the experience of all the start from flying in and the whole vibe. And I have some pictures. I should have asked you to send me whatever you have in advance. I know you posted some videos and stuff like that, but if you have anything you want to send me while we're chatting, you could DM me that or whatever, and I think I could share it as well in the
I think I
in this.
posted most of like the good solos and stuff that I
Yeah.
got on videos.
Yeah, people will find that stuff. But yeah,
Yeah.
I got a bunch of stuff, but I'll let you have the floor and you kind of just share
All
the
right.
experience so I could live vicariously through you, because that's what the purpose of this podcast is, for
All
me to
right.
feel like I was places
Yeah.
I wasn't.
Well, it was really fun. And I guess just to give a super brief history, this fest typically or historically has been called Pits, Playing in the Sand. It's a Grateful Dead festival. But when Dead and Company did their final tour, they did, I suppose, the final Pits. So they gathered a different group of musicians this year than Dead and Company, but still with the same intent of having a kind of Grateful Dead camp for grown-ups and kids. There was a lot of kids there too. Just to play our favorite songs in different collaborations. And so they had the members of Dead and Company that are still playing together. John Mayer was not there, but Mickey Hart, Bobby O'Teal, Jeff Chimenti, Jay Lane. Am I forgetting anyone? I think that's the core. And then they added Sturgill Simpson was there for all the nights, and Derek and Susan were featured one night, and then the next night Rick from Goose and Margaret Price, and those were called the Deadhead nights. And there were 2 nights preceding that. One was Bob Weir and the Wolf Brothers, and one was O'Teal and Friends headlining. And it's absolute paradise. It is just blissful. It's at this all-inclusive resort in Mexico. Everyone is super chill. There's daytime sets by the pool. So there was a couple different musicians that were playing by the pool. Everyone's just chilling, floating on the rafts. And I will say, I know we're having this bit of a frozen tundra here in Atlanta this week, but in Mexico, it was hot in so many ways. The music was certainly hot, but the temperature was also really hot. Like it felt like in the mid 90s. I think it was in the high 80s. The temperature, it felt like in the mid 90s. So everyone was in the pool all day, chilling. It had the best vibe. It wasn't as crowded as past years. So, like, even rail rider people like myself who wait in line for hours and hours to get super close, there was plenty of room to dance around, and there was like no obnoxious behavior, which was fantastic. And it was just pretty blissful there. It was awesome.
That was
So,
yeah, I was gonna say
yeah.
that was certainly the vibe from like what the photos that the event shared and whatever stuff that came out on social media just like looked like total paradise. And it was like music photos night and day of both, pool photos night and day of both, and I forget what the other thing I was gonna say was, but just paradise and very beautiful setting as well.
Yeah, it was. It really was. It was great. So I arrived on Thursday, the day before show day, because never travel on show day if you can avoid it, because God knows what is going to go wrong. So
Right, I have the same thought traveling
Yeah.
for shows or traveling for anything day before for whatever it is, because you can't trust anything.
The only
You
way
don't
you
know,
can go,
planes, whatever,
Yeah, totally. The only time I travel on a show day, if it's like the only way I can go is if I travel on a show day, I'll do that, but try to avoid that at all costs. So I traveled on, when did it start? Started the 12th. So I traveled the 11th, whatever day that was. I can't even, my days are all mushed together right now. I think it was Wednesday actually that I traveled. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. No. I traveled Thursday, and then the shows were Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then I flew back today. Right?
Were there shows yesterday on Monday? Because I was kind of like glancing at the schedule.
That's another thing that was a little different this year, which was good. And I guess the only con was that everyone there is super exhausted, because with the Pits Festival, the Playing in the Sand, they had 3 nights of Dead and Company and then 1 night of a different artist. So they had a funk night, like they had Lettuce and they had George Porter and One of the years they had Michael Franti. So they had like a different vibe on one of the nights. And some people choose to like go out to a nice dinner that night and rest or whatever. But this night it was just like full speed ahead. Every single night was like better than the night before. So there was no resting. 4 nights in a row. I don't know. I'm old. So it was a little rough, but it was fun. So Friday was Bob Weir and the Wolf Bros. Who opened for him? Do you have the schedule in front of you? I can't remember.
I don't. I'm looking at pictures. I was gonna find some pictures.
It's on like the announcement. If you give me a second, I'll check. But Bobby, I go see Bob Weir a whole lot in any iteration that he plays in. So I've seen the Wolf Brothers many, many times, and they're a chill vibe. They're kind of, like his old band Rat Dog, kind of jazzy and much more mellow, pretty chill tempo. But he's added the Wolf Pack, which is strings and horns, which adds so much. And during the Wolf Brothers set, they did the full Weather Report suite and the full Terrapin suite, which was sick. It was absolutely amazing. And Derek did sit in on Friday. So Derek and Susan, originally their day was supposed to be the last day, which was Monday night. I don't know what happened, but they switched up the schedule. So by the time we got there, Derek and Susan were playing on Sunday night instead of Monday night. Maybe they had a scheduling issue or something. But so they were slated to play that whole show, but we didn't know that they were going to be sitting in any other time. So it was a surprise. So yeah, there it is. Oh, it was I don't know how to pronounce it, or Ebola, which is the acoustic goose. So they were actually really good. they were excellent. But then Bobby did his Wolf Brothers set, which was fantastic. And Derek sat in the second set on playing in the band, and he's gone. Both were sick. He did amazing solos in both those songs. I think I posted clips of his solos in both.
I was just watching some of the stuff from this past weekend and from that set as well. I was doing my homework right before before class.
Yeah, that happens. So it was great. It was a surprise. None of us knew that Derek was going to sit in, and when we saw him, it was amazing. Susan was side stage. We could all see her. She was like rocking out. She didn't sing with them or play with them on Friday, but she was there, and her presence was noted. She was definitely having fun.
They like to be fans too, like Derek and Susan, and not always have a need to participate. It's fun and relaxing, I'm sure, to like sit back and enjoy live music, because they probably don't get to do as much of it as they'd like. They're typically on the other side of it.
Right. Definitely. So it was fun to watch her actually have so much fun. So that was cool. And then, so the Wolf Bros did a 2-set show, and then late night, Mickey Hart put together this collaboration of drummers that was absolutely insane. It was sort of like Planet Drum, if anyone's familiar with what he's done in the past. He does a lot of sound experimentation with all of his percussions, and it was out of this world. It was so late. It started close to midnight, and it was packed, and everyone was jamming out. And Derek sat in. Derek was part of that. It was called, in Spanish, Mickey Hart's Noche de Undas, I think. And it means Mickey's Miracles, I think. But Derek was sitting in a chair with his guitar the whole time. So he played the whole set. Isaac was on bass for this. There's a connection there between Mickey Hart's family and Isaac. He's connected with Mickey's daughter, Rhea. So Rhea was also side stage with Susan, and it was fun to watch them. But they were the drumming was out of this world. It was amazing. And then Derek was smiling the whole entire time. he looked like he was having a blast. It was so different. It was like, world music. There was very little vocals. There was vocal sounds, but not lyrics. And it was just super cool.
I gotta find all this stuff online, and like I gotta and listen, dig in on it. Like
it was
especially
special. It was so different, and it was absolutely amazing. I love it.
I'm really going through personally, seeking more world music and jazz music more, and I always been into it, but like I'm really diving into it now. It's been like good for me. It's just as far as like relaxation and studying and just like getting into work mode, because sometimes when I like play music with lyrics, it can be distracting, or other genres can be distracting, or sometimes too sleepy even. Like I love classical music, but that's not the same as like some of this other stuff that's more uplifting but not distracting. It's like keep you focused. But yeah, I don't know,
it was mesmerizing. It was like meditative, but it wasn't mellow. It was way crazy high energy. Like I said, I mean, in the Grateful Dead shows, for those of you not familiar, they do a whole segment of drum space. So they do this whole drum, I don't know if you even call it a drum solo, but it's a whole drum section, percussion section, for like 15 to 20 minutes of a show. And everyone just like, zones out, and some people go to the bathroom, but I'm never one of those people. I love the drums. And it's just like this, it was this extended drum extravaganza, and it was absolutely amazing. It was so good.
Yeah, that's what I talk about a lot with TTB, because obviously there's a stereotype, like you mentioned, about like, oh, it's the drum solo, I'm going to go to the bathroom. Yeah. But when you add additional percussionists in there, it becomes more, maybe you could speak to this experience this night, like it becomes more, to me, especially obviously TTB, and Allman Brothers too, of course, it becomes more of a rhythmic conversation between the drummers and the musicians. Yeah. It's more engaging.
You know what? I wish I had it in front of me. Yeah. So the drummers that Mickey had are like super special, very well-known, drummers from around the world. I don't know their names off the top of my head. I wish I did. But yeah, so it's not, I mean, I guess it depends how you perceive it, but it's not exactly like soothing, calming music. It's more just like takes you completely away. At least me. And I absolutely love it. I could listen to it all day, and it would probably cure a lot of my angst or anxiety disorders or whatever. Like it just dance it out. And it's
you laugh and speak in generalizations, but I think there's a lot to this. It's what bringing us all here into this music, the spiritual quality of it, and the healing quality, and the medicinal aspect of music and sound and vibration. There's a lot that certainly I don't understand about this universe.
Yeah,
but I'm going, you go with it.
Yeah. So anyway, I mean, you'll have to tell me like how to edit myself, because I could talk about this for like
no,
hours,
we're good.
Like,
we're about 20 minutes in, and we're about one. Okay. What are we, about a quarter? Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Okay.
We're good. We'll get to Susan and Derek and all of that more. I also kind of want to know a little bit, and we could get to this later, but I do want to know a little about your musical background, like kind of like what you grew up listening to. Do you sing, play instruments, and how did you discover TTB? Those are my stock questions for especially first time guests.
I can answer those pretty quickly. So
sure.
I've been like a lifelong Deadhead. I went to college in upstate New York in Ithaca. I went to Ithaca College, and I discovered the Grateful Dead there and other things that led me to the Grateful Dead, which I don't know if I should talk about on.
Fair enough. But I think it's all understood, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So, so once I discovered the Grateful Dead, I just would like take some vacations from school and go to, Northeast tour while I was up there, or summer tour, do like whole tours and stuff. So the Grateful Dead were a huge part of my life always. And anyone that I talk to about my musical background This is the best way I can explain it. My brain is split into two parts, half Grateful Dead and half Allman Brothers Band. And I have no room for the fish. I have very little room for widespread. I do like a lot of other bands, but my brain is mostly consumed by Grateful Dead and Almonds. I lived in New York City after college. I went to Jillian Beacon shows. I lived there every March. I love the Almonds so much. I'm from Georgia. I'm in Atlanta, so I'm like, it's here, Southern rock. I mean, I don't know. People don't like that term, but I still think of it as Southern rock.
Why don't people like the term Southern rock?
I don't know why, actually.
So I guess just some people don't. Yeah, I mean, some people I guess are don't love certain genre terms because it just boxes. It feels like you're boxing. It boxes you in, or it associates with you with something that might not be exactly what you think it. Yeah, I get it. I guess I understand like what people don't like sometimes about that. There, a past guest I had, Larry Williams, is plays drums as well, and he plays in a tribute band, Grateful Brothers. I don't know if you've heard of them or know anything about them.
No,
that sound. I think it's pretty self-explanatory what that band is all about, but it sounds up your alley.
Well, actually, it's so interesting, and this fest was super interesting for that exact reason. So there is a number of musicians that have now played in both bands. So Warren did the Dead. Jimmy Herring, Jimmy Herring did the Dead. I think he did the Dead also. O'Teal obviously is actually in both bands.
And play with TTB also.
And TTB, yeah. And now Derek and Susan, kind of crossed over. There's, and of course the history of all their concerts. Watkins Glen and all the concerts they did together. Historically, they're just the best bands as far as I can tell.
Why?
In my opinion, anyway.
Why are they the best?
Why are they the best bands? Well, the Grateful Dead for me is a bit different. The Grateful Dead is everything about me. It's about the music, but also about the lyrics, and it's just in my DNA. Everything. It's kind of weird or sad. I don't know, but everything that happens, I can explain it in a Grateful Dead lyric, and I do often a lot. It just comes out, and it's like probably annoying to people, but it's just, I don't know. It explains everything, and the Almonds just takes over like my fun party side, I guess. But I love that sound, so I love the whatever you want to call it, Southern rock. There's other bands that I love with that sound. I'm way into Blackberry Smoke right now. I love them. They have that same like Southern rocky kind of thing going. I live near Macon. I've been to the Big House a bunch of times. I go see shows in Macon if I can. I do all the Almond stuff that I possibly can. I went to the Brothers show in New York right before COVID, and everyone got COVID, and that wasn't actually all that fun. But while I was there, it was absolutely the freaking best show. I kept thinking that night, and I don't want to think about it I do want to think about it. I'm going to manifest on your podcast. But on the Brothers 50, I was like, I wonder if this amount of Allman Brothers-ish is ever going to be on the stage together again. And it was the most special night. It was absolutely incredible, and I hope that we get something like that ever again. A lot of those guys are, still around, and it was something super special. It was fantastic. Cool. It just gets me, like all those Almond stuff. I just love it. Yeah,
it's interesting to hear the way you describe your fandom for Grateful Dead and the Allman Brothers as well. And like how describing each of those bands separately, it's like that's what Tedeschi Trucks Band is for me. Like just exactly what all you said. Really, the lyrics and the music and the party aspect and bringing you to another place. I think you said in so many words.
Yeah.
And what was the other thing you said? You said something else about what else did you said? Something about being able to like cite something about the lyrics, like in your
Mhm.
daily life, and
Yeah.
speaking in Grateful Dead lyrics. I
Yeah.
kind of sometimes do that with
TTB.
TTB, but I guess it's more that there's a TTB song, I've spoken about this, that can fit really any mood that I have, whether I'm in
Mhm.
a really joyous place or whether I'm in a really dark place. There's
Yeah.
always a song, or anything in between, and
Yeah.
on the whole spectrum of
Definitely.
emotions. Like there's always some TTB song. That's how I feel about
Yeah.
the Stones also, you
Mm.
know.
I like the
Allman-
Stones, but they don't get me as much, like, in the heart. But
Right.
TTB, like, coming back to TTB, since it's a TTB podcast.
Yeah, I wanted to hear about when you discovered Susan and Derek, I guess, on one timeline.
So I, like, even though my brain was split in half, Dead and Almonds, all the iterations of those bands I had room for always. So I was living in New York in the, early 2000s, and I guess I used to go see Derek Trucks band at, like, oh my God, I think it was called, like, the Nokia Theater back then. All over New York. They played a ton in New York. And my family's in Atlanta, and now I'm in Atlanta. But I saw them all over Atlanta Variety a zillion times also. And I love the Derek Trucks band. I'm a huge Mike fan. So I love Mike's voice. And, is featured so much in Derek Trucks band, and Kofi and OTL, and, I love that band so much. So that's how I came to TTB, was through the Derek Trucks band. I didn't really know of Susan's band individually before I found TTB. But once I found TTB, I mean, it is also, like, it's more church, which I need. It's spiritual, and it just gets gets you all the emotions. But I do feel that, joyful noise, for lack of a better way to put it.
You're doing it right now. You're speaking in
exactly. I love joyful
song
noise.
titles.
It's
Yeah.
so fun. It's church, So I love TTB. I go see them whenever I can. I see all the Fox shows. I travel for them sometimes, but usually I'll catch them. They do like a 2 or 3 night run usually here.
You're in a
I
good
am going
spot.
to that fest in Florida. So I'll go to, like, actually, I shouldn't say that, because I've actually traveled kind of a bunch for them. I went to the Levitate Festival, which was in Boston. I don't know. I've seen it a zillion times in New York.
The East Coast, I'll just say, is a
East
good
Coast, yeah,
I'll
mostly
say
East Coast.
Southeast or whatever. But
Yeah,
I'll
Grateful Dead, I'll
explain it to
travel
you.
anywhere, like anywhere. But TTB, I definitely travel for the East Coast, and then I'll definitely catch them if they're here for sure. So that's how I got to TTB. And then when Kofi died, I did I hooked up with Renee Pfeffer, so I participate in the Kofi Day of Service here, which is meaningful to me. Yeah. And then those guys, a lot of them live in Atlanta, so sometimes they do local shows, Falcon and Mark and Mike. So I see them around at local shows more than I would if, I didn't live in Atlanta. So
that's cool. Your acquaintances and maybe even friends are friendly with various TTB members and musicians in the area. You're a great music fan. I can, obviously I knew
my
that.
thing.
Yeah, it didn't take 28 minutes and 53 seconds for me to figure that out, but
yeah, it's definitely my thing.
Yeah, no, it's cool for me to, like, just connect with all these fans who just love music. Like, you love it. I mean, just looking at the schedule of this festival, it's just like, it's just so much music, and I just always love to also hear everyone's, like, musical journeys as fans. Like, how did you discover this led to this? Because, like, in a lot of ways, the way TTB led you to Susan, it kind of led me to diving back into some of the Derek Trucks band stuff and Susan's solo career and Allman Brothers, deep cuts and things like that. So it's like, they give you, like, permission, or it's like a crossover, it's like a bridge. Like, I can just look at the schedule and be like, know that I would, like, fall in love with a lot of this, like, music. I can't wait to, like, listen to that those drums.
The drums are amazing. And then, like, good segue. The second night of the festival was O'Teal and Friends. And I don't know how many of, people watching your podcast have seen O'Teal and Friends, his band. They are something else. Like, he does some Dead, some Almonds, but he does some originals. He does, funk stuff. And he just rocks the house. He has, talk about church. I mean, he just brings everyone's spirits up. Yeah, yep, there you go. That
He
was
looks
it.
like a spiritual leader.
He was
some
a
kind.
wizard. He had a wizard cloak on that night. I do know him personally. He's a very good friend of mine. And he really believes in the power of magic. And I'm with him on that. And he's channeling it through his wizard cloak. And he brings it. It is magical. And there's no denying it. He lifts everyone's spirits. People in the audience that hadn't seen his show or his, O'Teal and Friends. And he changes friends, different shows. This time he had the Natalie Cressman and Jen Hartswick. So he had horns with him this time. And whenever he has the horns, it brings it up even another notch. But he also had, to tie it all back into the Allman Brothers, he has Dwayne Betts on guitar, Lamar Williams Jr. singing. So all those guys have, Allman Brothers lineage. It's the next generation Allman Brothers guys, and they are amazing. He also has the Kimmocks, Steve and Johnny Kimmock. Melvin Seals was on keyboards, and Jason Crosby. I'm trying to think if I'm missing anyone. Oh, and Tom Gorna on guitar. His friends fucking rock. Pardon my French. I don't know if I'm
you're good.
bad word.
You're good.
Amazing. So yeah. So that night was super special. Everyone felt it. It was fantastic.
I'm already feeling like is this gonna be happening next year?
Well, we all hope so, but we never know. It's kind of a weird thing, not right now. We're waiting. We're hearing rumors about what might be happening over the summer with Dead and Company. So we don't know. But if they do the Deadhead again, which was, some of the core members, but some other musicians, I mean, it was really great.
It just seems like
I guess Dead and Company aren't going to tour, is my understanding. I think that's pretty definitive, but that doesn't mean they're not going to play. So,
right.
Yeah.
There just seems like there's still such a demand for this music. So, like, it will likely continue in some capacity.
I think so.
My guess.
Yeah. I would think so. Yes.
People like making money also. That's a thing. I'll say that.
Look, I'm like a whole branded thing. I got all the merch. And it's great merch. I come home with so much crap that takes up my whole house, but I love it. So
like I said, you're a great music fan.
Consumer. Yeah. What?
I said you're a great music fan.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. All right. So I'm going to move ahead. But the third night was the Derek and Susan night. So they played pretty much the whole show that night. And it was really great. I mean, going back to what we were talking about earlier.
I see, because they moved this night to Sunday night.
They switched the schedule.
Yeah.
I don't know when or why they did that, but when we got there, the schedule was switched.
Yeah, there's probably a later one that I could have pulled up, but I want to confuse everyone. That's my goal is to troll everyone.
Yeah. So Derek and Susan were on the Sunday, and I mean the set list was great. Susan sang Mr. Charlie, she did the blues singing kind of stuff. Derek played the whole time. He had some, it was just I don't know how to explain it. I mean, it was just the interchange was great between all of them. It was slightly weird.
I got it right here. Do I got it up here, the set list?
Yep, you got it. Exactly. Yeah. So one thing that's weird, we've been talking about some of the musicians that have played in both the Allman Brothers and the Grateful Dead. It was slightly odd to me because like it just like in an auditory sense, I wasn't ready for it maybe because I'm so used to hearing Derek's tone in the Allman Brothers and TTB. All night I kept thinking of the Reese's peanut butter commercial where it's like, you got your chocolate in my peanut butter. Like, wait, you got your peanut butter in my chocolate. And it was so weird because it was like, not the wrong sound, but it was like a different sound that I'm used to in the Grateful Dead song, but it was an Almonds or TTB tone. So it took me a little while to put them together. It was great. And I love Derek's solo all the time, no matter where it is or what it's in. And I love all the Grateful Dead songs. So it just took me a little bit for my brain to acclimate to like the two. Oh, hey, it tastes great, you know?
No, I kind of know what you mean because it's almost like a little bit in an odd way. I feel like distracting because he's so talented, Derek Trucks. So it's almost like your ears going to that and you're thinking of TTB and you think you're listening to TTB, but you want to let yourself appreciate the whole everything you're hearing now in this moment and all that. That's why it's kind of like I'm almost like can't always listen to his guitar playing when I want to focus on something else because I want to give my undivided listening to the music, or at least like be free enough with whatever task I'm doing to be able to pay enough attention to the guitar playing because it's going to pull you in anyway. So it's like I'd rather put on something else that I can kind of like, I don't know, his sound just like cuts through, so I can see it almost like being a little bit like distracting in a way. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
is this
I
Grateful
think
Dead?
it
Is
was
this
just
TTB? What is
different.
this?
Like he stuck
Right.
to the songs. He didn't go off on like a, you know, a different like a dream
Yeah, he would never.
solo
He
in the
doesn't. He
middle of a
never. He
Grateful
would
Dead
never.
song.
Yeah.
Um, but it just, you know, I mean, all these guys, if it's Warren, you know, he has a distinctive tone too. So you know it's Warren playing without seeing it's Warren, you know, just hear it. So right away I can know it's Derek, and it's just weird because Derek isn't typically in the Grateful Dead songs.
That's
So,
what separates the greats from from the not greats or the less greats is like you know their voice or their guitar, you know Warren, Derek's, Carlos Santana, you know
yes.
Rod Stewart's voice and Susan's voice as soon as you
Yeah.
hear one BB King can play, you can hear one BB King
Yeah.
vibrato and you're like BB King, you know.
Exactly. So
How did they
I
do
mean,
that?
it was super special to have the collaboration. It just took me a little while to acclimate to it. Susan, you know, her vocals, you know, are always outstanding. There were some funny parts, which I always love when there's like little weird mess up-y kind of things. So
They're human.
in Grateful Dead land, they play Dear Mr. Fantasy into like this Hey Jude thing at the end. That's kind of something that's historically happened in Grateful Dead land. But they don't typically play the whole Hey Jude song. It's more just like an ending. So I don't know, you know, also all of them don't typically play together. So I know they had rehearsals, but there's, you know, they didn't rehearse for a year or anything. They did quick rehearsal. So it seemed all of a sudden the whole song of Hey Jude was played and Susan sang it with Bobby and it was great. But there was like some confusion, I think, before it started in the audience. We were like, not sure if they meant to play the whole song or if they just started playing it and they just went with it. Like, I don't know, but it's on the set list. So maybe they really were supposed to play the whole song, but that's just a little different because we usually don't hear the whole song in a Grateful Dead show. So it was great though. It was really good. I loved it.
I was gonna say, like, what sometimes I guess when you have these like collaborations where there isn't a lot of rehearsal time, but you have hardcore fans of that music in the audience, the fans know the music better than the people on stage in some regards.
Sometimes, I mean, Derek actually, Sturgill Simpson played with the whole week also. He was on my plane today and I talked to him briefly and, you know, he doesn't typically play this stuff and Derek doesn't typically play this stuff and Susan doesn't typically sing this stuff. So, I mean, you have to do homework. There's a lot of work to be done to get these songs like sounding good. So, I mean, they're experts in it and it sounded great, but also, you know, there's bound to be little things that happen that are a little, you know, I love it when something weird happens. I think it makes it better. So
Right. I think when artists, I mean, I can't speak for professional musicians, but I guess with anything like when you're more familiar with the song or whatever it is you're working on, like that breeds confidence. And when one has that confidence, that it's, you know, you're more relaxed, you're more sure of yourself, you're having more fun, you're more in the moment, or all those kinds of things. Whereas if
yeah,
they're still kind of like feeling it out, there's less of that letting go, and like, I suppose, but yeah, they're just all so talented. Like it's probably hard to tell if to what degree they're even really, you know, struggling to find whatever
right,
chemistry they
right.
might be able to find. But I checked out some of these clips that were posted from Dear Mr. Fantasy, Hey Jude,
Yeah,
and Turn On Your Love
it
Light,
was
which
great.
is awesome song, one
It
of my
was really
favorites.
good. Yeah. One other thing I want to just note, which is like, it was a very weird thing for me, to be honest with you, but I just do want to mention it, is so they ended the first set with Love Light, and the last time I've seen Love Light played by a lot of different bands and a lot of different musicians, but the last time I saw Susan sing Love Light was at the Fox at Colonel Bruce's birthday party / going away party, and I was right in the front row ish, and right in front of Susan, and she was singing Love Light, and I watched her face turn from like joy to extreme shock. And it was a bit of a surreal moment for me, you know, being right in front of her again, watching her sing Love Light. That one kind of took me back a little
Yeah,
bit and had to like take a breather.
I wonder if I mean, she must think of that when she sings that song, especially since they don't sing it and she doesn't sing that song particularly often. So I mean, I feel like when you don't sing a song often, like it becomes more special, and certain memories, especially maybe a somewhat recent one, you know,
Yeah.
relatively recent one.
I mean, the Grateful Dead have that song in their set list a lot, so it wasn't unusual for that song to be played, but just usually I hear Bobby sing it and Susan was singing it, and you know, it brought back that night a bit for me, which was the most weirdest, best, worst night ever.
Yeah, I wonder
Yeah.
when was that the last time she sang the song? She sang the song with from the Black Crowes, Chris Robinson, I think. She said they did, didn't they?
I'm
I
not
think, or
sure.
maybe that she's done it with Bobby Weir also, with I think TTB years and years
Okay.
ago. But this was before, I think both.
Yeah. I don't know if that's the last time she sang it, but that's just the last time I heard her sing it. So, you know, for me personally, it was an interesting moment, but she might have sang it after that. Yeah. So that was that. That was slightly weird for me. Or surreal anyway, maybe not weird. It was great. It was a fun Love Light.
Yeah, no, it's ironically, I suppose, definitely an upbeat song, and maybe that's what kind of like brings up the mood. But like, if there's certain songs that like TTB is recorded and does, but or hasn't even done that, are just like, I feel like almost like too emotional, like, you know, when a very rare song for you or something like that, you know, definitely conjures up, I think, memories of Kofi and things like that, and it's probably tough for
Strength in
Susan
What
to.
Remains, like,
Right.
literally kills me.
Right. Yeah. That's a hard one for them to do. And the song
And
that I
Idle
think,
Wind, if I listen to Idle Wind without the flute, it also kills me. It's weird.
and the ending, that one, I mean, that one was about the on signs about, from what I understand, about Colonel Bruce and all that. And they've never done that live. And that's, I don't know, that's kind of, I feel like we're going to eventually get some of these songs more live. I don't know. There's certain songs of TTBs that I should start a Patreon and do this for like after hours bonus content. But there's certain songs of TTB over the years that have just been too emotional for me personally to listen to. So it's like, I need to take a break from XYZ song. But you always come back to everything, you know, and if they probably love these songs as much as I do. So I'm sure they want to, play them live. I always say what I want to hear is the thing that they don't play often or haven't played in a while.
Yeah.
That's my favorite thing to hear is like, I'll play it. So it's just surprise me with whatever you want. The more surprises, the better. And you definitely get that with Derek and Susan and TTB. But I'll let you continue to tell me about the rest of your time or whatever.
I'm trying to think about that night. I mean, do you have the set list for that night? You had it up before, I think, right? Yeah. I mean, it was just this really, really fun night. One weird thing doesn't really have to do with Derek and Susan, I don't think, or TTB, but like we had the most beautiful weather the whole time. And Bobby started singing "Looks Like Rain," and it started pouring.
I heard this story. I heard this anecdote.
And it rained for that whole song, and then it stopped raining. It never rained before. It never rained after. It just rained. Looks like rain.
The whole weekend?
It was like a magical, weird, crazy.
You're talking that night, the whole weekend, or?
Well, it did rain last night a little bit again, but that was the first drops that we had seen since we'd been there. It was like a beautiful day, and it just started raining during that song, and then it stopped.
Yeah, no, that's weird. I mean, obviously you're in the climate for it, but it's still, like I said, there's things going on I don't understand.
Yeah,
this universe.
And, there's a phrase that Bob controls the weather, so Bob, I think he does control the weather.
Oh yeah, I remember. I'm gonna go on a tangent, but the Prince halftime show at the Super Bowl. He wanted it to rain harder, and I'm pretty sure it did. Like for the whole Purple Rain vibe.
Yeah.
Similar kind of thing. Yeah, and TTB has had some rain themed songs and days and nights.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think about anything. I mean, "Call Me the Breeze" was really interesting. Sturgill sang that, but everyone chimed in. That was different.
I like John Mayer's version of that. You were mentioning him earlier that he recorded.
Oh yeah, I don't know if I even ever heard that.
Check that out.
Yeah, but the whole show was great. I mean, they fit in really well. I feel like I told you about my little weird peanut butter and chocolate thing happening, but it was a super fun night. I mean, it's all my favorite musicians on one stage together. It was really, can't ask for more than that. I mean, you just look at the stage and it's kind of like, wow. Like, I can't believe this is happening in front of me, and it was awesome. Yeah.
No, for sure. Super cool. Cool vibe down there.
Definitely cool vibe. Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's the venue. So like towards the back, like behind the soundboard area, there was all these trees and food booths, and like I said, there's just so much space. Like you could just take your crew and have this giant dance space. So it was awesome. Yeah. It was where I was standing. I was pretty much right on the rail, and I had a camera dude right in front of me. So my videos, I couldn't get really good video clips from that night because I had the camera guy.
But that person was probably filming, got a better shot, so we just watched theirs.
We have to just watch theirs. Don't watch mine.
It was another fan or a professional?
No. Like in the photographer pit, like the people who are actually, filming.
Well, that's what I tend to do, or always think when someone's in front of you. You're always like, "Oh, put your camera down. You're annoying me." And then later on, you're on YouTube. Later, be like, watching the guy's video and not even realizing it's a person in front of you.
That's their job, so you can't really ask.
Like in terms of a fan or like.
Yes, it does get annoying to have someone who does it the whole entire show. For sure.
Yeah.
But then there was I mean, that was pretty much it for Derek and Susan. They did a U.S. Blues encore, which was really fun. It's always fun, especially when you're out of the country, to get the U.S. Blues encore. But there was a lot of smiling. They looked like they were having fun. Music sounded great. And it was awesome. They weren't there for the fourth night, so they left. I don't know if they left, but they didn't play on the last night. Yes. Oh, that woman's name is Brittany Spencer, I believe. She sang, and she and Susan were like jamming it out, dancing together, and she was great also.
Yeah,
they all sounded great together. Yeah, and then the last night was Rick I never know how to say his last name, from Goose, and Margaret Price, and the rest of the guys. And it was also amazing. The set list from the last night was like full power pack with every single amazing, crazy song you want to hear. It was really fun.
Do you sing or play any instruments?
I play air guitar.
Air guitar. That's fun. I could kind of tell just, but I don't know. It's something about the way certain fans are, or like, I don't know. I could tell like who comes from a more musical in terms of a playing background versus who's like yourself, what I would almost call like a professional music fan, like great music
exactly.
fan. Like,
it is my therapy. Like, I could not live without music. Literally could not live without music. It does everything for me. And I would die without music. I see a lot of music, like a lot. But I don't play anything. Just kind of, I don't know. I tried playing piano when I was young, but didn't get too far with it. My daughter is learning how to play drums, which is exciting. And my other daughter sings, but she doesn't, neither of them get their musical capabilities from me. I just like to listen.
Yeah, no, well, they got that from you, their love of the music, I'm sure. I've taken up, I feel like, a lot of your time already, and I think you are on East Coast time, a little later than me. But anything else you want to mention or discuss, or feel like we need to cover or talk about? I'm not in a rush or anything.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I'm looking forward to the fest. I'm going to the fest in May in Panama City. Is that where it is? I don't even know.
Yeah, let me pull that up.
Town. Yeah, the sun, sand, and soul with the
that's a TTB.
Gray.
That's full TTB.
Yeah, I'm going to that.
Yeah. What about the Beacon?
I'm not going to the Beacon this time. I have 2 kids, and I'm a single mom, so it's hard for me. Even though I do go away as much as I can for music, it is difficult for me to go away. So I have to like solicit the whole village in order to be able to go away. So I'm not going to make it to the Beacon this year, but I will make it to the weekend in Florida.
What about Sydney, Australia? I'm just kidding.
I wish. No.
Yeah.
No Sydney for me this round.
Well, I'll tell you what. I want to get some chocolate and some peanut butter, and I'm going to listen to some drum duets. I think
oh my God, you got to find, you should try to find some.
If they're on YouTube. Yeah, the drums. I already pulled it up during this conversation.
It's amazing.
There's stuff on YouTube of Mickey's set there. Yeah, for sure. Cool. Well, thank you. I really appreciate it. We gotta get you on if you're down to recap Miramar Beach.
Miramar Beach. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah,
May 2nd through the 4th here. I got it up here. That'll be fun. I'm sure. Stay in touch. Keep me posted with everything. Nice to
connect. Thanks for having me. This was super
for sure.
Fun.
Oh, glad to hear. I love the energy. I love it's just fun for me to connect. Yeah, I kind of feel like I was there. Honestly, it's funny because like I can live vicariously pretty well through other people when they go to TTB shows, especially because I know the band, I'll have knowledge about the band and know all the songs, but I'm not super familiar with like everything on this set list in great detail. But just from this conversation and seeing photos and videos, and I'm going to dive more into the music. So like, I do kind of feel like I was, and the weather's not too bad here in Southern California. So I can kind of like,
yeah,
you guys are only a little bit warmer. Well, maybe a lot warm, or maybe Cancun's significantly warmer than even LA these days. But
Atlanta's not warmer than anything. Today we had it was like 20 something degrees. Feels like 12. It was freezing here today.
Yeah, I'm sure some people were. Yeah, I'm sure some people were looking at the photos and videos posted from this festival, like being like, you mother effers in this amazing weather. I saw Gabe Dixon posted a video on his Instagram stories today. He was like, looked like he was frozen.
Oh, yeah.
it was funny actually.
Cold all over right now. Not in Cancun though. It was hot.
Yeah. No, people were swimming. We saw. Cool. Well, thank you again. I appreciate it. And let's talk more soon.
Okay. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you got it. Later, Tracy.
Okay. Bye, Adam.
Bye-bye. So there you go. What was that? Episode 139 with Traci Thaler, recapping Derek and Susan's appearance at the Deadhead Music Festival, as well as the rest of the festivities from that weekend. I appreciate her giving me the lowdown, the boots on the ground, as I like to call it. That was looks like it was just such a fun vibe. I feel like I was there. I don't know. I'm like, basking in the experience that it seemed like it was for people, and I'm looking forward to definitely diving more into the music that came out. And maybe there is. I'll have to check the archive or wherever. I'll ask Tracy or some of the other Deadheads where they keep all their archives, because I know like fans of that music, and that music is fairly organized on the interwebs. But to follow this show, it's at Tedeschi Trucks Podcast on Instagram. Please subscribe on whatever platform you listen to podcasts on. I will be putting out an audio version of this episode as well. Hopefully get that out maybe today or tomorrow. That will be out soon. I'll throw some clips on the social media as well. I'm at Adam Choit, Instagram, Twitter. If you want to follow me, adamchoit.com. TedeschiTrucksPodcast.com for all things related to the show. TedeschiTrucksBand.com is their official site. Definitely buy tickets to shows, buy merch, join the Swamp Family fan club, and download the app. Do all that. Totally worth it. Thank you, TTB. Thank you, Derek, Susan, the crew, fans, Tracy, everybody. I think that's about all I got for today. Appreciate everyone listening, watching, and let's talk soon. Peace.